Welcome to East by West Farms. Here we grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Today I'm going to show you our fall harvesting. As you can see in my background here, there are lots of dried up vines. We haven't had frost yet, but we did have a few cold nights. Most of the squash died because of that. And except the wax melon, they still seems going strong. Surprising the high-end beans that usually like hot weather, but it seems they are pretty cold hardy as well, and it's still blooming. What you see here is a big wax melon or winter squash. This is actually a latecomer. We already harvested two that are bigger than this. Since the vines are still green, I'm going to leave it until the first frost, so that hopefully we can, this one will get a little bit bigger. So I will show you what I have harvested so far. Well, while Chris was setting up the camera, one of our hens came up to greet me. So I thought I'm just going to introduce you to my favorite hen, or the most friendly hen. And the rooster is looking for the hen, look like. So this is what we call Frau Dr. Merkel. The reason that we call her Frau Dr. Merkel is because she's the smartest hen in the flock. And she also is very friendly. Whenever she saw me, she will come to beg for food. So that's what I usually do, is I will grab some scratches for her so she doesn't get disappointed when she sees me. All right, but she doesn't really like being held. We free range the chicken, and the chicken actually sometimes do some damage to the vegetable garden. But one thing they really like actually is to peck on the winter squash. So the big boy I see over there had some chicken scratch on it, but it healed and seems to be didn't do much damage to it. We have been eating butternut squash and winter squash in the last 2 months or so. And I'm actually brewing some butternut squash wine or alcohol in the instant pot. Later on, I probably will shoot a video about how to make wine or alcohol out of the butternut squash. The biggest one is this one. So I probably will save some seeds from this one for next year's growth. These are the winter squash, of course. This is smaller ones. As I said, we have a few bigger ones that will save until the first frost. You can store them for quite long. The first time, several years ago, we got maybe 200 pounds of winter squash from the home garden. We just left them in the garage, and it lasted until like March. In the tray over here are the purple yam, the sweet potato. I think these are from 4 plants. If you count the percentage, it's like, I don't know, 10,000 more than what we had before. This one is actually a cucumber. It's become yellow when it gets older. This was harvested from spring growth, and I'm saving it for seeds, so it's still not dried up yet. So I just leave it outside and let it dry, and then harvest the seeds from that. Then we have one watermelon left. We got two varieties of watermelon. One is from seeds from the watermelon we bought from Aldi, and another one is we got the seeds from a restaurant buffet. Turns out that is pretty good, but I don't have one. That one is round and small. So this is the supposed to be bigger one. We got a very big one. This actually fell off the vine, so it didn't get bigger. I will let it sit for a little while and then see if it's edible or not. We got a bunch of cantaloupe here. They are small, but it smells actually very good. These are from the seeds from the cantaloupe that I bought from Aldi. We had a spring, we planted them, we got some cantaloupe out of that. And then these actually are self-sprouted from my flower garden. And we got quite a few of them, but they are small. This funny looking is kabocha. It's a Japanese, I believe its origin come from Japan, pumpkin. It's very sweet. It tastes almost like sweet potatoes. We got quite a few of them and have been eating them. And this will be perfect to make pumpkin wines. Some are more brown color and some are green. The brown one was from spring plants, and they had the time to mature. The green one was actually sprouted in later summer. I just put some seeds, throw some seeds in the ground, and they sprouted. And so, but it didn't have time to mature. So I leave it outside to see if it will mature. The green one, you can eat it as a vegetable. It's not as sweet as a mature one, but have a different texture. It's actually pretty good. Finally, we got these big boys over here. We have a video showing how to harvest these. These has different names, fuzzy melon or fuzzy squash. It's actually the mature one tastes similar to the winter squash or almost identical to winter squash. In my hometown, this is called the small winter squash. And the gray one is called big winter squash. The reason it's called small one, winter squash, is because you can eat the squash when it's young, like about maybe 6-8 inches. It has very, very sweet taste. But if you're like me, like a lazy gardener, you end up with small winter squash like this big. We harvested this maybe 1 month ago, and we just leave it in the shade. When we need to eat it, we just come and take it and cut it. This will take quite long time, probably 2 weeks to finish it.
You know, where I grew up, we had watermelon. You can buy watermelon in the store. You can grow them. That works. We had cucumbers, but we didn't have anything else, anything like that. Yeah, cantaloupe we could buy them in the store. I grew up in a pretty cold place, so tell me a little bit more about that. So you know the winter squash from your hometown, right?
You cook with it. It has you can cook with soup. You can braise it. It's kind of like if you are vegetarian, this is kind of like the hard vegetable for you, as we call it, like vegetable meat. So when we grew up, we only had very limited meat supply. If you cook, braise it, it really give you a very dense concentration. I wouldn't even get into the medicinal, the Chinese say about medicinal effect of that, because I don't know whether that's true or not. It's almost all year round. You can start to harvest them in middle of summer, and then you can store them all the way up to early spring.
Same thing for the fuzzy squash. Never seen that before. I mean, this is just amazing. And this grows like wheat.
Yeah.
Butternut squash, I think we can get that in the store in my hometown where I grew up. But I don't think anybody grows that. You know, what we've been growing is kind of these kind of cucumbers, but usually pumpkins. Pumpkins. But we usually take them, we dry them and use them as decoration, so we wouldn't eat them.
The Chinese, again, are not very scientific. They will call both the butternut squash and the pumpkins because they taste similar. You have tons of way to cook pumpkins. Most of the time I just steam it. That's the easiest way. You could make pumpkin soup. You could make dried pumpkin. I actually do the pumpkin, braise the pumpkin with lamb, or you could eat like sweet potatoes. There were actually lots of recipe on how to make alcohol out of pumpkin. I never made it before. I heard it. You can make pumpkin alcohol out of pumpkin, and it's actually a healthy drink. They can be stored for a long time, so it's very nice. Probably this will last through the winter without much problem.
And then we have the sweet potatoes. And you know, sweet potatoes, I've never seen sweet potatoes. When I grew up, we had regular potatoes, you know, the Idaho potatoes, or different types of them.
This one actually is the purple yam. So the flesh is purple outside. It's purple everywhere. So basically, you don't see the difference between the skin and the flesh. And it's very dense, very starchy, and very sweet. So this is another one. This year we didn't have a whole lot of them, so I probably will not make liquor out of it. One of my favorite dish with this is fried rice with fried pepper yam, and that is very tasty. You can steam it, kind of like pumpkin. So for me, when I cook, I look at what does the vegetable taste like. So for example, pumpkins and the sweet potatoes, they are similar to me because they are both sweet and starchy. And so you can basically, in the cooking, you can exchange them. Now we are kind of at the end of fall planting. So after the fall planting is done, then I will fix the outdoor kitchen and then start to doing some cooking class, cooking videos.
All this, we planted this for pretty much nothing. We bought the butternut squash in the store, we ate it. Instead of throwing the seeds away, we planted them. Same thing for the kabocha, pumpkin, the watermelons, same idea. Sweet potatoes, we got some cuttings.
We still have some sweet potatoes in the ground. Actually, we still have quite a lot of sweet potato vine in the ground. So when the first frost hit, we probably will find more sweet potatoes.
So altogether, maybe $2 investment.
We didn't buy any garden soil. It was just planted directly in the native soil. So we didn't put. Maybe we bought a little bit, put a little bit of fertilizer. Other than that, it basically costs us nothing. Next year, we probably will have more. Here in Texas, we can still grow winter vegetables. So we usually don't store lots of vegetable for winter because we have fresh vegetable from the winter garden. So this probably will last us for a while, and hopefully we don't need to go to grocery store until the spring. Then we can have a spring crop too. These are the squashes we got from our plants this year. We didn't buy the seeds. All the seeds was collected from the food that we ate. And we didn't also buy the garden soils. The garden soil, we just planted direct on the native soil over here. And of course, a lot of work, and not really, but the squash grown by themselves. So as long as you have a large piece of land that you can let them grow, they will be very productive. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumb up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button to follow our journey with the East by West farms.